Yes, that's Mr. Pauer live on KCRW. The album is called Orange, came out in September. We're going to have copies, I believe. Also, kind of a special giveaway along with this. You should describe what else we're giving to our listeners.
Well, we have a special treat of orange candy. We have a sticker for Mr. Power, and it's just a special edition box that we handmade created to make this day special.
Very nice. You gave me a sticker earlier, and this is sort of a cartoon character of you. But the funny thing is, this is exactly how you're dressed. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
I mean, you've got to plan this thing every day, right? If you're going to have the stickers, you need to look.
That's right. I mean, that character is something because, I have him dressed up in different outfits, and I try to follow him instead of me trying to manipulate him.
So do you, it seems like your concept, your look, your aesthetic is very well thought out. Do you put a lot of energy toward that?
Well, it's just part of who I am, as a musician, as a designer. I try to, absorb as much as possible from Latin American culture, from American culture, and create a new character called Mr. Power and a new sound, Miami-born sound called Electropico. So, it's all coming along. It's all part of the whole, spectrum of different ideas and influences that create Mr. Power.
Well, let's dig in a little more on that. First of all, the name Mr. Power. So literally, people are hearing power as in...
That's in power.
As in strength, as in power. So this is a different spelling. Explain the meaning here.
Yes, the word power is spelled Pauer, which is basically a description of my double nationality. I'm Venezuelan and I'm American. So for me to have a word that's phonetically in English and written in Spanish is connecting those two worlds into one sound and one culture. Yeah.
Interesting. And I actually know you. I've seen you before as a DJ.
Yeah.
I've seen you play it was at a Grammy event maybe a year ago.
Maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
That's right.
Did you begin as a DJ?
Well, I began as a drummer, as a rock. I come from the rock scene, and many years as a drummer, and evolved after that into experimenting as a DJ set, which opened my spectrum of electronic music and my interest to create and produce new sounds based on how I grew up in Venezuela, with all this Caribbean music, combined with the rock, the 80s, and the electronic.
Yeah.
So that's mashup of sounds is what created my interest to start producing.
Well, it looks like from your setup that it's almost like a booth, like a DJ booth in a way. You have these instruments, but it's
Right.
it reminds me of a DJ setup.
Yeah, I love the concept of being a hybrid band, where I'm using the computer, I'm using, electronic keyboards, drum set, and adding, the ethnic drumming and the acoustic sets. I think that's part of the sound, being a hybrid band is just an easy transition from a DJ, and it makes just sense for me as a drummer, because that's those two worlds are really familiar for me.
Sure. How long did it take you to realize your sound and this concept of electropico?
Well, it's funny because, when I started producing, I thought I was going to be making house music that sounded, kind of like German sound, kind of minimalistic. But when I started producing, I started noticing that, this Caribbean beats start pumping up, and, instead of trying to evade that, and neglecting that, I started to accept, that Caribbean, rhythms and manifestation, into my sound. And that's what actually created Electropico, because it's kind of connecting my thoughts to the nostalgic, childhood living in Venezuela, combined with the live experience at the moment.
Well, it's funny because these are things that are just part of you. They're right in front of you. So you're just embracing your own history and experience in the music.
I love it.
So tell us about the album title. It is Orange. Does this connect with being, in Miami now?
Yes, there's a strong connection about the project in Miami, where 14 singers, from 12 different nationalities, connected with Mr. Power to create this concept album called Orange, where the 14 collaborators live in Miami from different part of the world,
Yeah.
and it's tried to unify a Miami-born sound of electropico with different singers that come from different style.
And so it's all meeting in Miami. So these are
Yes.
musicians from Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil.
Haiti, Cuba, and it's actually a nice project that makes me really proud of my city and my sound, because there's different type of layers of sound when you have such a big diversity of nationalities living in one part of the U.S., which is the most Caribbean side of the U.S., just to put it in a way.
Oh yeah, and so Electropico was born.
Was born in Miami. That's correct.